Hello everyone and welcome back to another book review. Today I'm going to be reviewing volume 3 of No Matter How I Look at It, It's You Guys' Fault, I'm Not Popular. This is a series I have read before, but I didn't finish, and I did read it a couple years ago, so I'm restarting this series so I can finish the series this time properly. So I am kind of familiar where the series goes, and I will incorporate my thoughts about later in this series into this review. However, if you're not familiar with volumes 1 and 2 in this series, I would go back and watch my review on volumes 1 and 2, just so you're familiar with what's happening in volume 3. I am kind of covering this sticker on the front because my library system doesn't actually have this series. I'm having to order it from another library, and when they do that, they sometimes put all my personal information on the front of the book, but I did want to show you the cover of this series, and that way you could see it. So there we go. Volume 3, Tomoko is still struggling. Our main character, Tomoko, who is right here on the front, has had a rocky high school debut. She has not had the popularity or the success with friends or the success with boys that she has wanted to have, and now she's struggling and she's trying to impress other people. She's trying to get other people to like her by acting in a way that isn't authentic to her. She's in that state of mind that I think a lot of people go through or experience at some point in their life where they're like, something's wrong with me, so I need to act different or be different in order to fit in. And as anyone who's an adult knows, it doesn't ever actually work, and it's not a strategy that you should ever really employ, because there's always a lot of people who will be your friend if you're being authentically a nice person, kind, not hurting other people. Really, the bare minimum contact for being bar for being a friend is pretty low, and it's more about putting yourself out there and being approachable. And these are also skills that unfortunately Tomoko hasn't learned, and we are struggling with Tomoko to make friends. I think this series is super relatable to basically anyone who went to middle school, high school, anyone who moved, anyone who started in a new environment, a new sports team, a new job. Basically every human is going to be able to relate to a situation in which they were lonely, in which they didn't have friends, or they didn't have friends who lived nearby, or in situations where they felt like they were the odd one out and everyone else was having more fun than them. So this is an incredibly relatable series. However, in these first couple volumes, we're seeing Tomoko at her lowest, no friends, just deeply upset but masking it. I heard a quote somewhere, and I'm definitely going to botch it, and it's probably many quotes kind of put all together in one quote in my head, which is like, it went something like, you condemn what you want. Basically, Tomoko is trying to put up this external layer, which is like, well, it's dumb that you want to do that. It's dumb that you want to go to the photo booth. It's really stupid that you have your stupid boyfriend. And she's acting very angry and confrontational about things that she actually deeply really wants, but she isn't willing to admit to herself that she wants to have these experiences. But by putting up these walls, she's also pushing away the people who could help her have that experience. She's putting up these walls that would not allow her to make those friends and make those connections that would enable her to have the experiences that she wants to have. So she's kind of digging her own hole here, and anyone who has been here or has seen this before will recognize it, but it can be hard to watch because Tomoko's doing this to herself in some regard, and she's just going to have to realize that she's doing it to herself before she's going to be able to change. Volume 3 focuses primarily on the Culture Fest, which is going on. I feel like this is a staple in every high school in manga series. I'm assuming that high schools in Japan actually have culture festivals. It's not just something invented for manga series. But Tomoko is she's trying to be helpful and she's trying to reach out, but she really has dug herself such a deep hole that she's not really connecting with her classmates. And as a result, she winds up being on the outside of the Culture Fest looking in instead of an active participant. Now, in Volume 3, we do start to get a twinkle of hope. I feel like the authors really threw this in there because they wanted us to be like, hey, don't worry, things will get better. This isn't going to be all doom and gloom for 16 volumes. This will get better. And that is, Tomoko isn't entirely friendless. She does have a friend from middle school. I believe her name was Yu-chan, who went to a different high school. So they're kind of not in connection on a daily basis. But Tomoko is reaching out to Yu-chan, I think that was her name, her middle school friend, occasionally to hang out. And she does wind up coming to the Culture Fest. Tomoko is really she was a little bit vulnerable with her, kind of saying that not everything was great at high school. So she does have this one tiny social outlet, but it's not someone she can connect with really. And she does have a lot of anger and jealousy towards her friend who's better adjusted to her high school life than Tomoko has. So one thing I would like to just say to Tomoko is just because your friend seems to be having it better in high school doesn't necessarily mean your friend actually is having a better time in high school. Everyone has struggles, and that's something that later on in the series, when Tomoko starts to talk to some of her classmates, she realizes that not everyone is having this wonderful, perfect time that she envisions them. It's just because she's outside looking in that she's viewing everyone as having this perfect time. She can't see the struggles that everyone else is having, because let's face it, every student came into that high school in a new environment, having to make new friends more than likely, or at least leaving some of their middle school friends behind. So Tomoko's just kind of glamorizing and romanticizing everyone else's life to do this. So besides her middle school friend, there's also the committee chair for the culture festival, who kind of notices that Tomoko's on the outside and takes it upon herself to do small gestures of kindness to Tomoko, which I think is just that glimmer of hope that people do notice that she's around, and she's not like an unwanted leper from the community. She's there, and people, especially maybe, I assume the committee chair was a little older, so maybe able to recognize some of this social isolation or the struggle of being a first year in high school, and she's extending a friendly hand, which is sometimes all you need in life, which is just why you should be kind to everyone, because you don't know who's struggling, you don't know who feels like they're on the outside, who's lonely, who doesn't have a friend, who just wants someone to reach out and invite them. All Tomoko really wants is someone to say, hey, come join us, hey, come eat lunch with us, hey, why don't we go shoot hoops in the park, or whatever. She just wants someone to notice that she's there and invite her in, and that's why I think it's really important to just do that in daily life, because you don't know who is the proverbial Tomoko in your life who just wants someone to reach out and be there for them. I love Volume 3. The glimmer of hope definitely breaks up the doom and gloom that's been prevalent throughout the first 3 volumes. I have read a lot of the series already a couple years ago, and I do know that it gets better. So if you're reading the series and are not sure you want to continue, I would say stick with it. Read at least through like volume 10, if I remember correctly. Things do get lighter, things do get better. There are humorous moments, and Tomoko does grow and learn from this experience, which is really all that we can hope for. And I really think she's a better person for it, because she is going to remember, looking back, the time that she was lonely and friendless, and hopefully turn those experiences inward, kind of meditate on them, and then be the person that the world needs, who's able to reach out to those people who are kind of on the margins of society. So Volume 3 I loved, and I love where the series is going. I'm excited to keep reading it, and I do highly recommend. If you have any thoughts on the series that you would like to share, please share it in the comments below. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.